Hello and welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart, and I'm fired up about today's episode. It is so relevant in this era of iBuyers, this era of fast technology in service-based industries. And we're going to talk all about how to build and maintain relationships amidst the technological world in which we live. And before I introduce today's guest, who's amazing, by the way, let me start by reminding you the purpose of this show, which is to help you think bigger. By putting you in contact with people like today's guest, your thoughts start to expand, your actions follow, your results follow that, and even more importantly, your impact follows. And my passion is to help inspire you to live a life of greater impact. So if you're looking for show notes, including from today's episode, as well as this week's, things that you may have missed and may not want to miss, go to thinkbigger.realestate, and there you will find the ability to sign up for a weekly summary. It hits your inbox every Saturday morning when you can be sitting at an open house, reviewing best practices and helping expand your own thinking. So with that, let me introduce today's guest, Gale. He's out of Scottsdale, Arizona. He's with Nova Home Loans. He's also a core coach. For those of you that are familiar with the core, those guys don't screw around. They get after it. They help consumers in really big ways, and they build amazing businesses. So Greg, thank you for coming on the show today. It's a total pleasure to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I love the title, first of all, just think bigger. It's just a great way to stay growth minded, but I appreciate your time and appreciate being invited on the show.
Yeah, for sure. So Greg and I are fortunate to have a common connection, Stacey Dirth, with whom I get to work. She was in Arizona, did some great things down there, and now she's up here doing some great things. So thanks to you, Stacey, for making the introduction. Greg and I didn't realize it at the time, but we were at an event in Dallas in early August, learning from a gentleman who's very intense, and he's intense about helping people build great businesses. And one of the things that stood out to me in that meeting is he said, if you as professionals are doing everything through technology, then you deserve to be replaced by these online companies. That it requires you to be face-to-face and voice-to-voice with your customers. Otherwise, why do they need you? Greg, talk to us a little bit about how you've done that in your business, in this, like leveraging technology as opposed to completely outsourcing these relationships to technology.
I love how you put that. You know, a lot of people misconstrue that where technology is bad because if you outsource it, you disconnect yourself from the consumer. Yet if you embrace it and leverage it, you can actually make more connections with the consumer. So, and outsourcing to me is, you know, hey, here's a list and we're going to automate it and this company will take care of it, or they're going to get calls from some of the text messages from a bot of some sort, versus you picking up the phone, you texting them, you engaging with a call to action to stay in front of your clientele, your consumers. But yeah, so the event we did in Dallas, the mega, same, I was up on stage coaching the LOs about open houses and going to open houses to visit the realtors, because a lot of time realtors are virtual. They're not in offices anymore. So you got to get face-to-face and belly to belly with them. And just like Rick said, man, to have an impact on people, you've got to be face-to-face with them. Now, a way to leverage technology might be like this, like you shoot a webinar of some sort or a podcast or a video out to your database to stay connected with them. You pick up the phone and call them and you have a system to stay in touch with them. Very much a process driven, you know, you have to have it as a process where it's like a checklist and I'm reaching out to them 4 times a year. Here's how I'm doing it. Maybe you leverage a mail house to send out a mailer to them, but you're following up with a phone call to check in with them and invite them to some big client party.
Yeah. Unless it gets personal, I think people are quick to dismiss it. I know I had a real kind of rude awakening here. One of my very favorite clients told me, they say, look, we see you all the time digitally, but we don't see you as often as we'd like to see you in person. And it's caused me to make some adjustments. I'm in the process of hiring an assistant to where all the post-production work of this show can be done by somebody else, so that I have the ability to take the valuable network and connections that I have with people like you, the knowledge that I'll get from this episode, and then go be super valuable to them in a one-on-one consult with them. And I think, you know, the error that I had made is that thinking that by simply broadcasting to people that was enough, and it's not. There has to be a personal component. You have to like connect with people in person, or the stuff that you do digitally, people are quick to dismiss it. Have you found something similar to that, Greg?
Absolutely. And sometimes they feel that since they're not seeing you, they just assume you're so busy because they'll see your podcast, then they see your post, and then they see you checking in somewhere, and then you're traveling and like, wow, they're so busy. And then they don't want to send you business. Right. Oh, they're good enough. They're doing well. Let me just give it to the new guy that keeps coming face to face and seeing me and offering me value. So you got to stay in touch and to keep that loyal connection. And the challenge that I find is that you have a lot of these relationships, you've got to leverage it a little bit too. So to have maybe a hangout at your house where you're like, guys, we're having Monday night football at my house. Who wants to come? Right? Or, hey, we're going to have cooking classes and we're going to rotate through a chain of houses. And we have a bunch of people that we just rotate houses. Or like when I do my client stuff, it's big client parties. We have November 22nd is the Frozen premiere. So we rent out a movie theater. It's 280 people. And I'll have my past clients invited to come and let's just hang out. We'll watch a movie. We'll hang out before. We'll hang out after. And then they'll appreciate it as we roll into these holiday seasons. I give away, last year, I think we were at a couple hundred pumpkin and apple pies the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And they come to the office and they set a time to come in and the team's here. We just hang out and just talk with them.
Yeah, I think when you couple those kinds of touches, both one-on-one, small groups, as well as even large events like you've described, it just gives impact. So all of a sudden your email comes through or your video comes across their social media thread. If there has been no personal contact, they'll swipe right by it, right? They'll delete the email because they don't feel that they matter to you, right? You're speaking to the masses, not to them. I know for me, I clean out my inbox very, very quickly. It doesn't matter how beautiful somebody's drip campaign has been crafted, how beautiful the HTML features are in that drip campaign. If I haven't heard from that person or that email isn't laser specific to what I'm looking for that day, it gets deleted. Sorry, friends, if you're in that group. Whereas if I've had a personal contact with somebody, their email doesn't even necessarily need to be that relevant. I still open it and at least keep it longer and interact with it because of the fact that now there's a personal relationship. So because I know that person cares about me and there's a personal relationship, I'm more inclined to hear what they have to say. And I think that's where a lot of us make a mistake. It sounds like you've taken steps to not only do that in your own business, but to coach other people to do the same so that you keep from falling into that same trap where it's all digital and it's no face to face.
100%. And look, there's a happy medium in there too, where you got to use the phone calls. Like the number one leveraged activity is literally the phone, because I can make way more phone calls than I can make face to faces, but you have to do both. In a very simple system that we teach at the core, and it's in other coaching systems too. It's called the letter of the week. So if there's 26 letters, and how many weeks in a year, Justin?
52.
Cool. So 26 times 2 is 52. So I can hit them twice. I know I've had that question where someone's like 50 and I'm like, okay, it's okay. There's 2. It's 50 spring break, right? So you have 26 letters, 52 weeks. So if I call all the A clients the first week of January, pick a time, block out an hour or two, call everyone with the last name A, the Applewoods, right? The Apache A, and then B, the Burberry, Blackberry, hey, Mr. Boston guy, right? And then C, D, right? But by June 30th, you've called everyone in your database and you've made a connection with them, whether it's voicemail or you've actually got to talk with them. And it could be someone you helped get a house 3 years ago. Hey, it's been like 3 years, so I haven't been in touch. How you been?
Yeah.
How's the family? How's the kids? Right? How's the job? What are you doing these days? I just make a connection with them. But if I do it, then do it again. July 1st, that whole week, you block out 2 hours, hit all the A's again. How you been? It's been like 6 months. If you have a good CRM or just an Excel spreadsheet, you keep really good notes. But look, that's 2 guaranteed touches. If you throw in their birthday and you throw in the anniversary date that they closed on the house, that you got them the house, that's 4 touches a year to your entire database. I guarantee you will increase your closings. Now, I'll give you a statistic because I tracked it. I went from 16 closings in 1 year to 84 closings the next year just by doing the letter of the week with the anniversary and the birthday call.
And that's powerful. So let's talk about that. I mean, if the only thing that people took away from this episode was that they're going to start doing this. Let's talk about step number 1 is that they need to have some database where they can at least alphabetically sort it, right? Even if it's an Excel spreadsheet, even if it's in your phone, folks, like there's really no excuse to not be doing this. Your phone is the lowest common denominator of a database. I hope you have something a little more complex than that, but if you don't, you can still apply this, right? Open up your phone. This week is the A's. Get going, right? Call the A's and B's this week, right? I mean, is it that simple?
It's that simple. I'll tell you, you can plug in your phone and put it in Excel, or just open up Excel and export the database in there, but somehow get it to Excel because that's the easiest one. Later on, we can talk CRM and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But Once it's in there, hit sort by last name. And now I just start calling the next step. So step one, get it somewhere, get it into Excel, or sort your database by last letter. Step number two is to block out 1 hour in your calendar, maybe 2 just to get going, and have that as 1 day a week. At the core, we pick Thursday as past client day. So on Thursday, you block 2 hours. That way, every Thursday you're coming in going, I'm going to call my past clients today. It's this letter of the week today.
Super simple, right? And I think a lot of times people think, well, I'll start doing that as soon as I get my new CRM set up. And I'm not sure which CRM I'm going to use yet. I'm researching them. Guys, these are just excuses, right? I mean, I think if we recognize the opportunity cost of delaying, it would make us probably throw up. Like, I mean, if we realize, like, by not making those calls, how many people you're not helping, how many people are ending up in the hands of either a bad loan officer or a bad real estate agent, and you're missing out on a sizable commission by not helping those people, you'd probably like quickly be like, I cannot afford to not start today.
Well, every one of those calls you make between now and the end of the year, and when you get someone that says, oh yeah, I do need to move before the end of the year, yeah, we do want to do something at the beginning of 2020. That's someone that was going to call somebody else, go online, get grabbed by somebody else's little pixels and get pounded with retargeting, and they were going to call them.
Whereas it could have been you, could have been very relational, could have been a great experience. You could have been impacted their life in other ways beyond just the transaction. But I'll put myself in the category, we missed out because we were procrastinating and delaying that we'll start that as soon as we get this in place. And guess what? This is like mañana. It never comes.
Yeah. Well, look, if you're in real estate, you know a lot of people. So when I'm making these calls, it's, hey, do you need anything around the house? Landscaper, housekeeper, roofer. Like, we just had a bunch of rain the other day. I said, hey, you need the roof guy? I was literally in my yard picking up nails and little pieces of tile because the rain like pounded on my roof. Hey, did you have anything like that happen? No, I'm good. Or, oh my God, yeah. Do you have a good guy? No, do you have a landscaper though? Because mine's a little flooded in the back. Yeah, sure. Like, you know, a handyman, you know, a housekeeper, you know, a house cleaner, like, you know, all those people. Offer it to them. Nothing in it for me. They know what I do. So if I'm just coming, like you said, there's a value void out there, I'm going to bring the value by being the connector.
Yeah, the way that we got on that topic, for those that are wondering where that term came from, I said, in my industry, title and escrow industry, I feel like there's been a severe value void, is that my industry shows up as customer service representatives. At least they're showing up, right? Which is a start. They're showing up saying, let me get you labels, let me get you postcards, let me get you lists. In fact, I spoke with an agent yesterday and she said, Justin, it's incessant still, even to this day. And I'm like, still to this day? That's what they're talking about?
Wow.
That there's a value void there. And so I'm speaking to my industry, and this isn't everybody, right? But like, it's right now, we're at a point in time when consumers are questioning the value of using a real estate agent. They're as a result of the massive amounts of money that's being spent by these tech behemoths, right? Consumers are having to ask themselves the question, is it a worthwhile investment to use a real estate agent? So in other words, real estate agents are having to raise the bar in their own value. Loan officers, the same thing. People are asking, should I just go online and do it, right? Ready, hit, right, mortgage, or is it worthwhile to go to a professional? As a result, those of us that support these industries, we have to raise the bar as well. We can't be just pushing postcards and lists and friendly pop buys. Like, it's got to be more than that. We have to be knowledge workers. All of us live in a knowledge economy right now. And if we're leading with just friendliness, yes, friendliness needs to be a part of that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we all need to be jerks. But in addition to being friendly, we actually have to bring real value that moves the needle. And I know you feel that way very much, Greg. Hence the reason why you've built a great business. It's built on value.
Yeah, absolutely. And you make great points. Like, and the thing is people are looking for the information. So they're going to go online. They're going to talk about it. Alexa's going to pick up on it and start retargeting them again. That's that technology out there. But you need to be putting out the content to your past clients, those leads that are in the system that haven't connected, or maybe they're just kind of warm. And yeah, beginning of 2020, like, we had 13 people reply to my last video on Wednesday saying, yeah, we're going to wait till the beginning of the year. So great. So now I'm just giving them content like what to think about as you purchase in 2020. Here's a video about a wealth workshop, how to save money until you do that, how to increase your credit score before you would apply for a loan. Like, push out information. Top 6 things you should do before you list a house. If I'm a realtor, I'm thinking, what are the questions that the consumer is thinking that I need to just push out on video content to YouTube and Facebook and IGTV and have out there on the web. So when they do go out for information to technology, it gets them. And then there's a hard call to act. Call for a complimentary consultation. I'll walk you through what this looks like. No obligation. That's what they want. They want convenience. They want no obligation. They want information.
And again, circling back to where we started, is that unless you've made a personal contact with these people, you likely won't even show up in their feeds, or if you do, they'll scroll right on by it. So these phone calls that we're making to make the personal connection, right? And this is a reminder for me and all of us, we need to get better at this, is that once we make that personal connection, all of a sudden people care what we're talking about, right? Otherwise, if it's just that, again, I've had to learn this lesson the hard way. If it's just that, people don't listen, right? They're not just going to listen to you talk forever because they don't feel like you actually are invested in their success.
Correct. Yeah. And that's through you listening to them. That's how they know that they feel cared for. And when they feel heard and you deliver on whatever they needed, that's where that connection really goes even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. Greg, it's no wonder why you're a coach, why you're not only a top producer, but inspiring other people to do the same thing. It's been a total pleasure having you here on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I want to end with this signature question that I ask everybody that comes on the show. And it's frankly, it's probably my favorite part of the day because it helps expand my own thinking. And it's this question, Greg. You're a big thinker. That's why you're here. What does Greg do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your own possibilities? What do you do? Please teach us.
That's a good one. So I hang out with bigger thinkers. So, and I know it sounds like a really easy answer, but if I hang out with people that aren't thinking bigger, that are just in the redundancy of everything they do every day and not thinking like that, they have a 5-year vision that not only drives them, but pulls them there. And then that they're planning towards that vision. Mm-hmm. And if they're not, it's not like I can't hang out with the person that doesn't have the big vision, but I purposefully want to be around 5 to 10 people on a regular basis that have big visions, because that will fuel me to want to do even more. Like, man, that guy's thinking even bigger than I am. That gal's doing big things because she has a 10-year vision. I need to now do a 10-year vision.
I love it. It really does make an impact, doesn't it? That phrase of you're the sum average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. Yeah. It's amazing how when you hang around small thinkers, even just for a little bit, it impacts you. Yeah. And you get around people. Me right now being around you is inspiring me to think bigger. And I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the audience. They feel the same way. So thank you for that great answer. Thanks for being on the show today. Thanks for doing what you're doing and making an impact in a lot of people's lives. I am excited to have the Think Bigger real estate audience be introduced to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet. And everybody, my final request, which you're used to hearing, are 3 simple words, and they are go think bigger. So appreciate it again, Greg. Thanks for your time, and we'll be in